Hi there, my name is Marc Emery, publisher of Cannabis Culture magazine and formerly of Marc Emery Direct Seeds and certainly of the BC Marijuana Party. And let me tell you, I've been out of jail exactly 14 days now, and I'm happy to say we've restored order to all our going concerns. Cannabis Culture magazine will be out shortly on newsstands on September 15th, in hemp stores on September 2nd, and subscribers will begin receiving their copy the week of September 5th. So the next wonderful issue, our biggest issue ever, and the one that we were most proud of, was being printed when I was being raided and busted in Nova Scotia and here in Vancouver. So the next issue of the magazine is one of our most cherished. It won't mention the bust because it was printing as we were going, but nonetheless, it's one of the best issues. It's a medical marijuana massive. It's indeed something that we were really, really, really fond of and thought it was our best issue in a long, long time. I want to tell you that in 2 weeks, wonderful things have happened. Yes, I stand to be extradited to the United States in a series of hearings and political battles, and yes, I could get life imprisonment without parole for being the mastermind and ringleader of one of the most notorious of all criminal organizations, or as I prefer to call it, overgrowing the government very successfully and very effectively. And right now, as I film this, the Seattle Hemp Fest is underway, and I hope everyone there will take heed of our crisis here in British Columbia. Not a crisis of money or a crisis of confidence, but a crisis of the drug war. And basically, we've got to get everyone in the world unified, and I think my arrest has helped do that. We've got rallies on September 10th to the 15th throughout the world. 25 cities as I'm speaking to you now on August 19th. Moscow, Paris, London, Auckland, New Zealand, Wellington, New Zealand, Mexico City, New York City, Vancouver, Halifax, Toronto. 25 cities around the world, with many more I'm sure to be mentioned, will be protesting at the Canadian consulates and embassies around the world and in Washington, D.C., and at American consulates and embassies in Canada. Be sure to go to our website, smokeoutamerica.ca, and find out where the rally nearest you is. And if there isn't a rally near you, then please organize one in your community. You can always find a symbol of power. Canadian police power, American police power, DEA power, American government power, Canadian government power in your community to protest the arrest of myself and my dear friends Michelle Rainey and Greg Williams, all of us facing tremendously onerous penalties in a U.S. prison gulag. I'd like to thank everybody who sent money and have been so wonderful and generous, and people who sent letters. And of course, as you know, I'm being interviewed extensively, and I hope you're proud of what I've been saying. I hope I've represented our community well, and I hope I've spoke to the issues that you would like me to speak. I will be featured shortly on the front cover of Dose Canada newspaper. It's a daily newspaper found in Toronto and Montreal and Vancouver and some other large Canadian cities. And it'll have a very interesting write-up. 60 Minutes has given the green light to do a show on the Prince of Pot and our efforts to overgrow the government and what it means. And that'll be shooting in September, following up on a New York Times article that painted a very accurate portrait of my past activities and activism that I've been involved with for 25 years now. I hope everyone's keeping abreast of all the latest activities, including the DEA entrapment scam to people who had seeds going to them in June and early July. You know, the DEA photocopied some of that outbound mail and sent sneaky notes to people urging them to do incriminating things like send wire money to mysterious capital letter strangers and saying that they were friends of mine, of course. And of course, the DEA is allowed to break the law and allowed to steal and scam from people and entrap you, just to show you that there's actually such incredible moral alchemy that goes on that somehow they say I'm doing something illegitimate, yet all I was doing was bringing seeds to millions of people who wanted it, so that the medical people could get their medicine, so that people could become self-sufficient in growing marijuana, so that people could grow marijuana and empower themselves through the sale of that marijuana. I envisioned a nation of Americans, a nation of Canadians, a world of people growing huge amounts of marijuana to overgrow the governments, end the prohibition of marijuana, and free our people from the gulag prison systems, and literally run the government dry, that they could never, no matter how vicious their pogrom, destroy all the marijuana in the world, that we will preserve this beautiful plant that was bequeathed to us by God, the most important plant ever put on this earth. That was our duty. to preserve it, to advance it, to advocate it, to make sure that it overgrew the tyrannies of all those governments. That was my plan. I'm unrepentant. I'm unbowed. The DEA, the American government, the Canadian government, they all turned their back on me. But think of this. Irwin Cotler, our very own Canadian Justice Minister, he knew about my seeds because he said that he was flattered. Watch the report on Pot TV homepage. He was flattered to be considered Pot TV's Man of the Year only 18 months ago. He boasted that his children were fans of Pot TV, watched Pot TV, more than they read the Globe and Mail itself. I believe the whole nation of Canada is complicit. If I go up the river for what I've done, then every senior member of a power structure in Canada is completely and utterly complicit. Consider that not only did the Liberal Justice Minister, the governing Justice Minister, fond happiness at the thought of being our Man of the Year, and that his children were regular watchers, and children whom he respected, by the way, their opinion. But Jack Layton, the leader of the NDP in Parliament, came to my home and endorsed marijuana legalization, asked for my support and the support of the cannabis culture through Pot TV, which everyone knows is paid for, or was paid for, through the sale of seeds. And that the BC Green Party leader, Adrian Carr, accepted $7,000 from me, knowing it was from seeds, so that she could promote proportional representation through a ballot initiative in a campaign in the year 2002. The NDP are complicit. The Green Party leaders are complicit. The Liberal Party Justice Minister is complicit. Every member of Parliament received a subscription for 8 years to our magazine, and no one ever complained. The Canada Revenue Agency, on behalf of both the British Columbia government and the Canadian government, gleefully accepted large payments of my personal income tax, knowing all along that it was for seeds, and that I had explained the entire business to them in detail and how it worked. Everybody is complicit because everybody knew. Any single Canadian could have called up the police and laid a complaint, and the police would have been obligated to investigate. That never happened. In 10 years, nobody from the public ever called to complain. The Canadian public remained silent. And yet now, even though members of every political stripe, people of every government agency, from the post office to the income tax to the revenue agencies, everybody knew what I was doing. So the entire nation is complicit, and that's why you're protesting at Canadian consulates and embassies around the world. Because the hypocrisy is extraordinary that they would lay a person like me out to the gallows. Remember, the maximum you can get for murder, multiple murder in Canada, is 25 years. After 25 years, you can get parole for even a killer. We don't have the death penalty. You get out 25. I face a longer prison sentence in the United States for the revolutionary act of spreading seeds around the globe, having marijuana grow everywhere, in profusion, and in addition, using the money I received to advance peaceful democratic change all over the world. That's my crime. If you think that's wrong, please show up on September 10th at consulates, embassies of the American and Canadian governments around the world. Go to the power structures in your community and have a protest if there's not a consulate or embassy on September 10th, which is a Saturday. And even in Kingston, Jamaica, it's September 15th on a Friday, and various other dates circulating throughout Europe. So please go to the website.